Latinos in Clinical Research live. It was like this, except it wasn't broadcast live. It was on Zoom. So it's a group open to anybody, not just Latinos. Anybody can join. And there was a bunch of career-related questions, bunch of career-related topics. Can you guys hear me on Instagram? Okay, I got this mic right here. Can you hear from this mic? Or are you hearing something else? Let me know if the sound is good on Instagram. I'm using my old iPhone on there. And then over here, TikTok. This is the first live on TikTok. So if you guys have questions on TikTok, and by the way, if you're not following me on TikTok, like, what's wrong? This is 2022. Let's put politics aside. TikTok is a huge growing platform. So, anyways, I'm here to answer, talk, share, discuss. Right now, I got to do a humble brag, right? My coordinators are seeing 2 patient visits today on their own without me, just very minimal involvement from me. Instagram, mic check, can you hear me? Very minimal involvement from me, so it frees up more time for me to be able to do live streams and things like that. Because at the site, I mean, we're sharing the space with a doctor, so it's kind of awkward to do live stream. All right, so what is up, everybody? So Zahra, nice to see you. Nandi, Ivy says you suck. Well, thank you, Ivy. I really appreciate that. I think I struck a nerve. Nabiya, hi, how's everything? Everything is good. All right. Saeed, nice to see you. And it's nice to see some of you guys and gals from yesterday. And this is incredible. The TikTok, I could see what's like the hype about. TikTok, this is my first live. I've got 54 people on TikTok. Welcome, TikTok. Obviously this is working out, so I'm going to do regular clinical research sessions on TikTok and then Instagram too. So thank you, Iwaji, for letting me know that you could hear. So wherever you're at, I want to make this convenient for you. So LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, thank you. Dr. Khalid, nice to see you too. So what are the questions, guys? One of the most frequently asked questions is how. It's not even a question. It's a theme. I'm going to start with this theme. And Carla Vera Navas, nice to see you too. You joined late, but we would have definitely featured you on there. This is the hardest working female in clinical research that I know. This lady's unbelievable. So one of the things I've noticed from, not just from new people getting into clinical research, but people who have been in the industry for a while and looking to expand their career, to expand their skill sets, they're always waiting for permission. Like, hey, what kind of certification do I need? And when I tell them, like, you don't need any certification, you need experience. That's what you need. You need experience. That's like, and you're not going to get experience unless you push for it, unless you make it happen. Okay, so that's one of the things. Somebody on Instagram said, hey, I got a internship at a CRO. So that's cool because those are rare. Like they typically reserve those for clinical background people, like for international medical graduates. One of my former IMG international medical graduate employees, he used to be a CRC from one of my old sites, Global Clinical Trials. He's a CRA. They just had a meeting and they were talking about training new staff, onboarding new staff. So there's a lot going on, a lot happening in the industry. So what are some questions you guys have? Somebody's laughing. I'm beginning to reach a certification course. Look, there's nothing wrong with certifications, but don't use them like that's not the end. All right. The certification is not the end of your efforts. If anything, that's the beginning. If anything, it's not needed. What you do need is good clinical practice, which, by the way, you can get for free. So somebody just messaged me, where can I get a hold of GCP documents? I'm setting up a phase 1 clinical trial. So phase one is tough. Okay, you gotta really know what you're doing. Phase 1s, I've actually stayed away from them. let me find GCP. I can't put the link up here, but I could tell you the website. So there's 2 free GCP trainings. One is gcp.nidatraining.org. gcp.nid, like Dan, A, training.org. That one's good. We don't need the other ones, but that one's good. But there are others. And I guess how I found these guys, it's like I just Googled GCP training, go to clinical practice training, and I kept searching. Sometimes amazing things happen after page 1 of the search results. Like, don't just quit due to page 1. TikTok's telling me to change filters. I don't really want to change filters. So TikTok's been great because it's been a new audience. There are a lot of research on there, but it's a lot of people that are trying to figure out what they're going to do. Connor, what are your opinion on clinical scientist position? I think they're great. Look, I'm up to something. I'm writing a new book, but I'm like brushing up. Here's for everybody to see. Biology made easy. All the stuff I should have been paying attention to in college. All right, I'm relearning. So biology made easy, chemistry made easy. I'm reading a bunch of different books on different therapeutic indications. My next book, I think, at least in my head, it's going to be amazing, and there's a need for it. So my thoughts on clinical scientist role is that's the foundation of this industry. And yes, you don't need to even know science to do clinical research. I know it sounds crazy to an outsider, but I've been in this industry since 2005. And yes, my background was undergrad. I was molecular and cellular biology, but I barely used any of it. Like, it's just paperwork, following the protocols, entering data, recruiting patients, making sure the PIs are having oversight. There's very little science, surprisingly, very little science at like the coordinator level, unless you want it to be. And this is, I think, what separates the people who, and if you have an interest in science, you can pursue it. It's a perfect industry. I used to ignore investigator brochures. I used to ignore, I didn't care what the drug's mechanism of action was. Now that's like one of the first things I look at. And nobody told me to do it. It's just I'm naturally inclined, as probably for the last 3 years or so, I've just been drawn more to the science. I think COVID had a lot to do with that, with all the misinformation. I mean, you have credible people on both sides telling you completely different things. So rather than just trusting some outsider, learn as much as you can on your own. You'll be amazed what you can learn when you read papers with conflicting viewpoints too. That you can make your own decision. So clinical scientist role is great, but for that you do need a clinical background. Obviously, usually it's PhD level. So if you have that, go for it. Even if you have that, I still think coordinator is the best route initially. Okay, what else? Who is that? Ed Linava? What up, man? What's cracking? Nice to see you. All these usernames on TikTok. I don't know you guys, but I mean, I probably know you. All right, Carla says I specialize in phase 1. Okay, so here, Syed, talk to Carla. This is your go-to. This is my go-to for phase 1. How's Bodhi and Sonic? Thank you, Hamid. Bodhi and Sonic are great. I'm working from home today, so I had to lock the door because they'd be in here jumping all over me and running around here, knocking down everything. Right? We can't have that right now. I'm trying to have a peaceful live stream, and I'm appreciating the engagement I'm getting right now. And let me know if you want more lives in the future. Just throw some hearts on Instagram, throw some hearts, whatever they throw on TikTok. And then here, guys, just throw the comments. Let me know. So Sadaf says, I've been working on a lot of post-market studies lately. Me too. One of my next studies starting. We're in study startup phase. Matter of fact, I'm supposed to write down a note for revising the informed consent language for my my study. It's a diabetes study, and I can't share more than that. But it's a diabetes study, and we have to do the study startup. We have to do like the informed consent language. It's it's pretty simple because the sponsor does a lot of it for you. You just have to put in the specifics, like how much you want to pay the patients, emergency contact information. So tomorrow I'm going to do that with my staff, unless they surprise me. And no, they are not watching because they're with a patient right now. I just got a notification that the visit's done, much smoother today, very successful. See, it's all about training, guys. It's all about training. So tomorrow I got to make sure they did that, or we'll do it together. And it'll be another learning opportunity. Shout out to the CRC Academy for both of them. Syed, sure, hit me up. I would love to maybe interview you or something. Like, as I'm preparing, my next book's going to be science focused, like very science focused, but with a clinical research angle. Because obviously that's my niche, and that's the industry that I live to serve. But I think there's a need because, like I just said, you can get away without knowing science in this industry. If you specialize in the same therapeutic indication for your entire career, you're gonna eventually just by osmosis almost learn a lot of the important stuff, like important assessments. You're gonna learn that in your first 2 years. What's the important assessments? What are the important con meds? What are some common side effects? What are some challenges for the patients? So I'm going to make a book, but it's very difficult to transition to another therapeutic area and relearn all that stuff. So my next book, I'm thinking, and this is like the first time I'm actually announcing it, and I'm in very early stages of it, but it's to write something to help people transition from different therapeutic areas. So from CNS to oncology to GI. Why am I doing this? Because it's something that I would want. It's just like the same reason I wrote this book. All right. Like the 2005, 2006 version of me was looking for something like this. And all I saw was BS, like a bunch of BS, like $400 books that are just GCP printed out. You can get for free the Code of Federal Regulations printed out and make it look thick like a big book, but it was nothing, and there's nothing practical in there. I wanted to make something practical. So this is the same idea for this book that I have, but yeah, it's going to take a while, guys. Dr. Colette, thank you so much. Gotta go. Thank you. I appreciate it. Elizabeth, so Instagram, how's it going? TMF enthusiast, I see you on TikTok with your bow tie. Amazing. I love it. Keep it going. Let me know, not us. There's no us today. It's not Latinos in clinical research today. It's just me. Let me know what you guys are thinking, what's on your mind. Don't wait for permission. I don't care if you're brand new to this industry, or if you're not even in the industry, or if you've been in this industry for 40 years. Don't wait for permission. And who cares? You don't need external validation, right? If you want something, you do it. That's it. If you want it, you're going to make it happen. If you don't make it happen, that means you didn't want it enough, or you got fearful. CFR is really useful, but can be dense for new people in the industry. Very dense. Matthew Weaver, I would say to the point where it's not useful. And if you look at most FDA guidance, it's like this. Like, they say just enough to have guidelines, all right? Like just generic guidelines, like PI oversight. What does that actually mean? I mean, it just means that the PI knows what's going on in the study, but then you can break it down, but they don't do that. So the sponsors break it down. GCP dictates that you got to keep the patient safe. Patient safety is number one priority. So within those frameworks, you have an idea of what the PI should do, but every sponsor has different expectations, every CRO, and then you can bring it all the way down to the CRCs and the assistants. And are you allowed to advertise this? And how much can the CRO influence or the sponsor influenced the site. Like maybe there's a subjective rater assessment rating scale. In a lot of pain studies, it's like this. And a lot of central nervous system disorder studies, it's like this. Just started the Audible book. It's great. Thank you. I think that one's underappreciated. It's like 2 books. Chris and I read the book, but then every like few lines, we go off script, have a conversation. Yeah, that one's. Thank you. Thank you. I really wish more people would get the book. The audiobook's been doing great too. The book still, look, I'm going to look right now to see where the book's at. Meanwhile, send your questions, send your hearts, send your likes, send whatever. Okay, the book's right here, $3.99 on Kindle. And no, you don't need a Kindle to read on Kindle. You just need the app for any phone you have. The book's doing number 3 in medical research. I released this thing over 3 years ago. It's still number 3. I do almost no marketing, like 0. These videos I do, like when people just randomly bring it up, that's the only marketing. We don't run any ads for the book. And it's number 3 in medical research. Like it's holding steady. Where's Fauci's book? Fauci didn't write one yet. When he writes one, it'll be number 1. But then we'll compete. Okay. Is CRA training mandatory to be a CRA? No. First of all, you got to be careful with CRA training. I have a CRA Academy. It's a 3-month class online. But the whole purpose of that class is to get you to the internship. The internship is remote internship, remote monitoring, where you get hands-on experience on a real breast cancer study. Rest in peace, Dr. Anthony Hoffman. He's the one who created this study. An excellent person, a fantastic human being. Like, I should have had it was a sudden death. I didn't know. Like, cherish the moments you have with people that you enjoy being around, guys. But you do remote monitoring on a real breast cancer study. You get actual feedback from us on your IMV reports, just like a lead CRA would do. Okay, and then you do the next IMV report. By the time you've done 3 of these, you're ready to go interview, and you're putting real experience on your CV. So training, nabiya, training is definitely not mandatory, but it's mandatory to know what you're doing if you're going to be a CRA. And it's very unlikely, even with our CRA Academy, unless you're an RN, it's very unlikely that your first job in the industry is going to be CRA. It's most likely going to be an in-house CRA, a remote site monitor, a startup specialist, a feasibility analyst, a study coordinator, a clinical trial assistant. It's going to be something. Love the book. Thank you, Indy JRN. I start as a CRA Monday, mostly because of your book. Okay. Indy, can you message me on TikTok? I don't even know how to check messages on there, but I'll find a way. Just message me, please. And I would love to interview you if you're up for it, if you're comfortable, to show others how it's done. Okay. And I see your background, your username is RN, so I'm guessing it's RN. Do a clinical trial on my tinnitus. If we can get it, like, look, if the PI, like, here's how at my new site, Yuma Clinical Trials, if we get study offer, first thing I do is ask my PI, do we see these kind of patients? They say yes, then I proceed. If they say no, then we tell the sponsor not interested. So I think they do see a good amount of those kind of patients. Thank you, Indy J. How have you been, Dan? I've been good. How about you? It's been way too long. Stefan, how are you doing? Nice to see you. How's everything over there in Serbia? Very nice to see familiar faces on the gram. Very nice to see new faces on TikTok. Let's keep going through these questions. Difference between AEs of special interest, and DLTs. I don't know what DLT stands for. All right, but adverse events and adverse events of special interest discussed in this book. Really quickly, an AE is any untoward event that the patient presents with at any of their visits or by phone. So A common one is like stomach ache or headache or nausea. Those are AEs. AEs of special interest are exactly what they sound like. Sometimes sponsors have a separate log for them because sometimes the FDA is specifically asking the sponsor to do the study to track the AEs of special interest. So, for example, I have a study right now. One of the AEs of special interest is tuberculosis because the study drug lowers white blood cell counts. So they're looking for TB. They're also looking at some cardio issues. So those are adverse events, but they're also adverse events of special interest for this particular sponsor. So adverse events of special interest are always adverse events, but for particular sponsors, particular studies, they're treated differently because that's extra data they have to collect for the FDA and they have to present it. And DLTs, I'm not sure. Maybe like actually write out what that is. Maybe somebody else knows what DLT is. Wow, all right, I got to get through some of these comments. Instagram, I got to squint. Stefan, nice to see you, Dan. Very nice, but a bit too hot. Well, yeah, you should come to Yuma, Arizona and see. Right now it's a cool day and it's going to be 100. The other day, last week, it was 115. And I was in Vegas. It's just as hot in Vegas as it is here in Yuma. All right, let's go through some of these. Carla Vera Navas. Yeah, you guys, LinkedIn, connect. Okay, informed consents are a beast. Yes, I work on the sponsor side. Awesome. CSR listings. See, Carla Nava knows. Dose limiting toxicity. All right, dose limiting toxicity. That's like phase 1 stuff. The reason I'm not that familiar with that acronym is because I haven't done that many phase 1 studies. For the most part, those are in phase 1 studies, and there are adverse events, and they can become serious adverse events at those levels. And a phase 1 unit, it is a hospital setting basically. So if it's an emergency, like, you're supposed to take care of the patient immediately, and then if you need to discharge them, then they could get admitted to a hospital. Where can we find the book? Amazon. Only on Amazon or on Audible. All right, The Comprehensive Guide to Clinical Research. We get through some of these questions. Wow. Clinical trial on okay, Alex. Wow. I had no idea. Okay, I see. Of course, I know who you are, but your username, I have no idea who you are. Could be anybody, but now I know who you are. All right, let's see. Coordinator's asking me a question. Yes. Okay. Coordinators still have questions. They're not fully up to speed, but they basically are. We need your audiobook with Chris Sober, a dialogue. Chris Sober. Yes. It's the same title, right? The same title on Audible. Comprehensive Guide to Clinical Research. Thank you, Saeed, for that. Do you have a PDF version of your book? Believe it or not, I don't. I just don't. The original somewhere in a Google Drive, but I never use it. Reading your book on my lunch walks. You guys are amazing. Thank you. What tips would you give for a CRA interview? Number 1, don't lie about your experience. All right. They're going to know, like, number 1 should be before number 1. So preface to number 1. Don't lie on your resume. Because guess what's going to happen if you lie on your resume? They're going to call you in for an interview. Guess what's going to happen when they call you in for an interview and you don't know the basics that they would expect somebody with your experience? This happens every day, right? Like, it's not going to go well. So be yourself. They're going to obviously know from your resume your background. So take a deep breath, relax. They wouldn't have called you there unless they like you, at least on paper. So now they're going to confirm that what's on your resume is accurate. So they're going to ask you, like, various questions. I don't know what's happening. Yeah, I don't think I can go. Let's do that collab later in a bit. That's interesting on TikTok. So they're gonna ask you to confirm like the experience on your resume. They might ask you, like, let's say you were a clinical research coordinator, but you put transferable skills on your resume that prior to monitoring visits, you would prior to monitoring visits, you would check, basically do source data review and source data verification of your colleagues' work or your own work. Well, they're going to ask you, like, what were your experiences with that? And then what were the outcomes? What did the CRAs actually find? How did you deal with CRA findings? How did you deal with action items? How do you deal with deviations when you spot a deviation? They might ask you different, like, technical questions like that. They also might ask you, like, personality questions, like, how do you get along well with others? Give us a situation where you were challenged in completing a project on time due to interacting with staff, and how did you overcome it? So they're going to ask you those kind of things. uh, good luck, Io. Have you been noticing a trend of some research sites being bought out? Yes, that has happened. It's happened more in the past. Free to be chick, long time no see. Love that you're on Instagram. Thank you so much for coming on. Yes, especially when interest rates were lower. Now they're higher, and so the valuations for sites were also higher. Now the valuation for sites are lower, especially if they're not profitable. If the sites are profitable, then yeah, they're still getting bought out. They're mainly getting bought out by, at least a year ago, they were getting bought out by like venture capital, hedge funds, big time investors. There are also like some strategic acquisitions, like, I kind of talk about this a lot, but like IRBs and vendors buy sites. I've seen a slow down recently, but it's probably going to pick back up. Once the rates keep going up, the Fed just increased interest rates again. So that's going to decrease valuations, but it's also going to increase the value of profitable companies. So I think you'll see more mergers and acquisitions at for the profitable sites. And you see a lot more strategic acquisitions. One of the goals of my site, like, we moved out here to Yuma, Arizona to build it up and to sell it to either the local hospital within 5 years or to another company outside of this area that wants to come into this market. So it's still going to be hot. The industry's hot, so mergers will still be hot, but interest rates are going to change a little bit of that, a little bit of the valuations. Transferable skills, that's right. And Eddie Nav, I didn't even know you had tinnitus. I'll look it up. I'll look it up to see if I could get a study just for you. Right? We already know we have one patient. Best course of action: transitioning from clinical trials in academia to industry. Get out of academia as fast as you can. Don't stay long. It sounds funny. I get a lot of hate for this. If you're happy in academia, I'm not talking about you. But you almost become unmarketable as a candidate if the more time you spend in academia. I've heard this from dozens of hiring managers. So get out as fast as you can if you've been there too long. Another thing is you want to show them. I actually did an interview with somebody who did just this. It's on my channel, Dr. Eldrin. Just message me on LinkedIn and I'll find it. He basically is saying the same thing. There are transferable skills, so like working under pressure, multitasking. Some academic medical centers, you are given a lot of tasks. At others, everything's just so streamlined, so you're just given a lot of the same tasks. So it's obviously better if you're given a lot of different tasks, because that's closer to what you're going to be doing in the industry. I read I went from CTA 1 to senior CTA in 9 months, and now I'm ready to go for CRA. Okay, perfect. You have nothing to worry about. And if it's the same CRO that you work for that's interviewing you for CRA, you're good. They want to keep you because they know that their competitors are looking to hire you. There's a supply shortage of labor in this industry. Maximus Racing, what is up? I need a coordinator in Phoenix or Michigan. If you're located in either location, hit up. If I know Maximus Racing. So if you are looking for a coordinator position in Phoenix or in Michigan, hit me up. and I'll send it to my boy Maximus Racing. Okay. Where can I get this book or PDF to print? You can't. You can't. It's just on Amazon or Audible. The Kindle's only $4. Right? The Kindle, you don't even need a Kindle. You just need a phone. Everybody has a phone now. If you're watching this, whatever device you're on, you can get a Kindle on that device. It's free. Hey Anna, how's it going? Okay, thank you. Man, you guys are super nice. Thank you, Calvin. I appreciate it. Experience is what is required to become a CRA. We'll leave this on the screen for a while. Experience is what is required to become a CRA. And on TikTok, the person that reached out to me to do a duet or to join, let's do that. Let's schedule. Just hit me up, DM me. Hey, let's do it. Just exclusive. We'll just do exclusive for TikTok. Because right now, if I do it here, these people on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, they're not going to hear. It's just going to be the TikTok right now. I think it's important to know that there are many other roles within the CRO or research field, so it's important to understand the CRO structure. Absolutely. And by the way, the CRO structure is changing as we speak. Speaking of mergers and acquisitions, Thermo Fisher bought PPD last year. That structure is changing. Like they are no longer, PPD is still independently run, but they're owned by Thermo Fisher. But they're a sponsor now. Like internally, they're changing. And internally, with AI coming out, with like if risk-based monitoring ever like shows promise, if decentralized trials ever show promise, or at least elements of these things, that's all you need for the roles to change. It's kind of like in the 1930s, if you would go to like any big city in the US, you would see like entire floors of office building with just operator, like phone operators. Now you don't do that, but those same people are working other jobs. So new jobs are created with technology. So understand exactly what Kilna said. Understand the CRO structure, like understand it really well. Did you know that all the publicly traded CROs have quarterly earnings calls that you can listen to? Just go to their websites, click on investors, and then click on quarterly earnings call. You can go listen. Pick IQVIA. They're the industry leader. Go to IQVIA's last earnings call, listen to it. Then the next time they have one, listen to that one. See where the industry is trending. See how their structure is changing. What is working, what's not. They get into details, and then you can Google those things to find out more. You can do a lot with some self-education. And tell everyone to follow Maximus Racing. He needs more sponsors. All right. Follow Maximus Racing on Instagram, guys. All right. And if you're a coordinator in Phoenix or Michigan, hit him up. I'm a study coordinator now and an aspiring CRA. Make it happen. 2 years you can do it. You have to have a bachelor's degree for the most part. If you don't have a bachelor's degree, it's still possible, but it takes more time. I've met enough people now that don't have a bachelor's degree that have become CRAs. It's still rare. It's not the norm. But yeah, perhaps you can do a session covering these roles: pharmacovigilance, data management, quality assurance, etc. Okay, I've interviewed a data manager. I would like to bring on guests, because my knowledge on these areas is rather limited, being mostly at the site level. I've had like 4 or 5 years of contract CRA experience. So in those roles, I've dealt a little bit more. In my role as a CRO for investigator-initiated trials, I've dealt a little more, but I'm by no means an expert in these fields. So I would love to interview somebody in pharmacovigilance, data manager again, and quality assurance for absolutely. If anybody wants to hit me up, or if you know somebody, hit me up. Get to MJ. How's it going? Okay. Dose limiting toxicity. Thank you, man. I'm behind on these comments. Is your CRA training done remotely? Yes. All of it, including the internship. Not sure who asked, but AEs, adverse event special interest, dose limiting toxicity. What's mean CRA 1, 2, and 3? They can mean completely different things at completely different companies. Job titles don't matter because every company has different titles. One title at one company doesn't even exist at another company. So always look at the job responsibilities. Don't just look at the job titles. It's basically more experienced CRAs. One can be called a senior CRA somewhere else. Jack Bailey, dose limiting. The dose at which patients develop AEs to an IP leading to a dose reduction. Yeah, usually in phase 1 studies or in oncology studies, because by the time they get to phase 2 or 3, they already have the dose. Like they have a safe dose. Well, what they think is safe. There's not going to be toxicity, but there might still be adverse events and serious adverse events, but it's generally not going to be toxic because they've done the healthy volunteer studies. So thank you very much, Jack. People are connecting already on LinkedIn. Rex Alexander, love it. Let's do a phase 1 book, Carla. I'm down. Let's write it together. Happy to do it. The audiobook is very entertaining. Thank you. It was actually pretty fun. CRA 1, 2, 3, etc. depends on the year of experience. More or less. CRA interview, know what ALCOA stands for, all right? Let me know right now, guys. ALCOA. And actually, it's missing a letter here. It's missing a final C. 2016 GCP revisions. I'll give you guys some time to let me know what ALCOA stands for. It's actually ALCOAC. So let me know. I'm not gonna give the answer, but if you guys know, Indy JRN knows. That's why she got the job. She's an RN and she knows this stuff. That's why she got the job. TikTok, can you hear me well? This TikTok's pretty cool, guys. It's a different way to create content. Right now, it's the same as anywhere else, but the consumption the reach there is incredible. If you're not on there, get on there and hit me up. Make it more fun. CRA interview tip. Use scenarios you had and how you handled them. Think about the worst day you've had and think what you had done to do it better. Explain that exactly. In any role you've had, preferably research. But if you have no research experience, then in any role from your previous job. Nicole, I always forget what stands for Alcoa. Like I have to see it to remember. Carla, funny. Carla got jokes. Let's stop joking and write that book, Carla. I think that's a good idea. I'm still in research mode for my next book, but I think our book on phase 1 could be a quickie. That could be a quickie. I just got out of academia and in industry. Congrats. You made the right choice. Again, nothing wrong with being in academia if you like it. Some people like that. Academia is kind of dying out. See, it's not the only one, guys. My interview is for a CRO, for a CRA training program. Would you recommend such programs? If it's for a legitimate CRO, yes. I do. And that's coming from someone who has a CRA academy. But if you can get into the one at the CRO, take that one. Then you don't need mine. Right? There's plenty of people that can't get into those programs. They're still going to need mine. I don't care what academy you guys take. Make sure it comes with an internship. Academia is kind of dying out. Yeah. It'll never die out because there's key opinion leaders and there's a lot of a lot of the hard science starts there. But yes, for the late phases, yeah. I have a professor of pharmacy and biomedical sciences. Man, I should have paid more attention in college. As an international medical doctor, is it possible to become a medical monitor? Yes. This came up. Araceli, you have to right now. You're on LinkedIn. So open a new tab. Go to LinkedIn. You'll still be signed in to hear me. Go to Latinos in Clinical Research. It's a group. Join it. Then go to latinosinclinicalresearch.com. Subscribe. Anybody, by the way, not just Araceli, anybody. You don't have to be Latino. Anybody can do it. Get notified of our free monthly Zoom meetings. We had somebody on one of our previous month's webinars. She did exactly this. She's an international medical doctor from Mexico. She worked in San Francisco as a study coordinator after, so coordinator first. 5 years of that, she moved around a little bit, different jobs as CRC. She became a medical monitor for a psychedelic company. It's on my Arceli. If you want to message me on LinkedIn, I can send you the link. I can't find it right now. I got to get to more of these questions, but Arceli, please go to Latinos in Clinical Research right now on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and on the actual website, latinosinClinicalresearch.com. We would love to see you on the monthly meetings. Master's degree is good. Hi, Addie. Nice to see you. Here's a bunch of people are going to say it. Attributable, legible, contemporaneous, original, accurate, complete. That's right. Alcoac. Attributable, legible, contemporaneous, original, accurate, and complete. What do those things actually mean? That could be another live stream, or you can just read in this book, or you could watch the 5-hour video. All right. Learn this stuff, guys. It's not just enough to know what those things stand for. You need to learn how they work in the real world setting. Real world setting. Perfect example. My coordinators just texted me, hey, the investigator accidentally put today's July 27th. She accidentally dated her assessment July 26th. Does she need to cross it out and change it, or can we change it? And I told them about Alcoac. So that would be attributable and accurate and original, because she's the one who originated the initial data. In theory, she should be the one correcting it because it should be attributed to her, and she could write data entry error. That's a simple example. If you don't know, like Alcoac, it's not just enough to memorize what those letters stand for. You have to know how they apply in real world context. So that's one that literally just happened right now. Hi, Dan. I went back at a CTA after a few years. Thanks to all your videos. Working at Big Pharma as flex employee. I love my job, but they are underpaying me. What do you suggest I do? Apply to their competitors. Talk to somebody there and apply to their competitors. And not every pharma is the same. Biotechs, go to biotechs, not one that's struggling, one that has something in the late stage that's almost ready to be commercialized. The biotechs in the early stages are going to struggle right now with the interest rates. And just apply to more places. If you're not happy, guys, like, life is short. Your career is short. I don't plan to stop working till I die, but if you want to retire and enjoy like 20 years of just doing nothing, your career is short already. So don't sit around not happy somewhere. You have plenty of experience. Go out and get it. It doesn't matter if you go back to CRO. It doesn't matter if you go back to site level. It doesn't matter if you go to a pharma. It doesn't matter if you go to a vendor. Just do more things. Taste more. Sample more. You can always get another job. You don't like it, get another one. The industry's booming. I heard this term CSM, clinical study manager, same as a study coordinator. Yeah, these titles, it's not even worth remembering what these mean. Just look at job responsibilities. Okay, healthy volunteer. Let's see. I'm an MD with an RN as well. You can do a lot in this industry. Canada, I would love to do it. Everybody knows what Alcoac means. Arceli, please do that, okay? Please do that. People are going to help you in that group. Myself, Judy, Monica, Ashley, and everyone else in there. Christine, Naro, Cassandra. You're going to meet so many people. I'm ready to work as a volunteer. If anyone wants to hire, kindly let me know. There's Hamid on LinkedIn. Hit him up. E-diaries and PI oversight. What do you think? It's a nightmare, Carla. Carla's asking me about e-diaries and PI oversight. This is something that's always delegated to the coordinators. The PA, even for the coordinator, we have to do this now on 3 studies. We have to look at like daily diary entries, and then it impacts how the raters are going to rate the scales. So in that case, like the investigators do have to be a little more involved and on top of it. But usually, even then, it's just the coordinator giving them a summary. Hey, these are what they've been putting on their scores. That should help you on your assessment. E-diaries really suck, and it boils down to the coordinator, not the PI. Ultimately, if it's not getting done, the PI needs to get involved and correct it because it's the PI's responsibility at the end of the day, but it's just something for the coordinators to do. Speaking of which, they're texting me. They're enjoying the day without me. Let's see. Yeah, see this alcoholic. Oh, they asking, do we need to document a process of consent for somebody's end of study visit? No, unless a new ICF See, everybody's got questions. LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, coordinators on Apple Watch. We're all here together in the universe. We're on a tiny ball, spinning ball in a sky of. They discovered dark energy. There's dark matter and dark energy. You guys want to go down a rabbit hole completely unrelated to research? Well, science still. Dark matter and dark energy. Most of the universe is dark matter, but there's something in the middle of everything, dark energy, that's just causing the universe to continue to expand. Not contract, because contract is like, the center, like everything's pulled due to gravity. This is causing everything to expand out. All right, anyways, back to this. This is more simple to solve these kind of problems. Thoughts on finding patients who have a treatable condition like hypertension but are treatment naive? We're doing a proposal for a study that needs these patients. You have to go, Jessica, to underserved communities. Like, oh, I don't know, Yuma, Arizona. Hit me up if you need site here. Because you've got patients in those communities, they're underserved. They don't see their doctors until something bad happens. And then they get put on treatments. So this is what we have a diabetes study that's like this too. It's tough to find because in the I don't know if in the this is a perfect example. Academic medical centers, they have patients, but those patients are getting treatment. But in underserved communities, you have plenty of these kind of treatment naive patients, and they're also research naive. We'll do, Chaya, please do it. Just do it. Hit me up if you need further like context privately. Hit me up on Instagram. All right, I got a few more minutes. Let's go through some of these. I work for a sponsor in oncology. Do you recommend having CRO experience if I want to be a freelancer in a couple of years? It depends if you want to be a freelancer for what. If you want to be a CRA freelancer, sure. But if you're already working for the sponsor as a CRA, no. Project manager, same thing. Clinical trial manager, same thing. I don't think you need CRO experience. The only benefit of having CRO experience at one of the bigger CROs is you're going to have exposure to like more portals, because usually sponsors just have like their own portals, and big CROs, they only have their own portals too, but chances are they work with different portals than what you've worked with. So that's the only benefit that I see. And CRA is what WK Santos says. So yeah, no, definitely not. Those portals are all the same at the end of the day. Morgan. All right, let's see. Instagram. All right, keep the hearts coming, Instagram. If you can still hear me, is this thing on? TikTok. Keep the, I don't know what they do on TikTok, but do something. to show that there's life. TikTok, that's the problem with TikTok, is attention spans like that. Things started out with 60. The LinkedIn gets stronger with time. It starts out with like only 4 people, then it gets to way more. With TikTok, it's the opposite. It start with like 70, it ends up with 2. And then Instagram, my phone is cracked, so I can't even see. All right, I'm a new-ish CRC, aspiring CCRC, which is a certified clinical research coordinator. Aside from ACRP, what resources would you recommend to help me study? Also, thank you for being accessible. So this is it. This is why I wrote it. If you're new, like less than 2 years, you're going to find some benefit out of this book. Even if you've been in the industry for a while, like it gives you a holistic view of like all the stakeholders. All right. I know people have used this book to study and pass. I know people have used the book study and failed. You just gotta do it. CCRC is a good accreditation to have, though. How long does it take to get from CRA to CPM? It could be the next day. You just need to talk. It could be tomorrow. You just need to talk to somebody at your organization or find an organization in great need of this. And if you're going to do CPM, it wouldn't hurt to do some kind of certification on Coursera or something. You can get a lot of like certifications, either free or like very low cost compared to traditional university, and add that to your CV. And yes, CPM is project manager. So it could be the next day, or it could be easily in a year. Network with the right people. Carla's one of them. Look, she's already telling you. She's already giving people advice. Carla's amazing. Carla, we need to do a part 2. We need to talk about that book. This study's US only. Jessica, if you need sites, I got the perfect site for you. My coordinators are getting more experience by the minute. They've been texting me on my Apple Watch. They got visits done on their own. We got a diabetes study starting on treatment naive, and we can definitely do hypertension. We actually see a lot of treatment. I'm becoming a salesperson now. Let's move on to the next questions. These lives are too fun. What roles do you suggest to get exposure if you want to be a CTM? CRC, then CRA or project manager, or both, and then CTM. Thank you for creating this podcast. I am an adjudication field where every protocol is different. Any thoughts on how to make it more understandable field, such as case processing? I don't, Brittany. That's so hyper specialized. I had a contact at BioClinica. Gosh, I can't believe I forgot her name. It's been like 4 years. She was an adjudication specialist at BioClinica. She was my go-to when we had questions on this. Message me, Brittany, and I can introduce you because her name will come back to me. I just haven't had enough of this cold brew. Carla says, what's important for the PM to understand the process from site to CSR, that's clinical study report, and know how the company process works. To follow up on their question, is being a lead CRA a good step before becoming a CPM? No. They're like parallel paths. I mean, a lead CRA and CPM, they can both lead to CTM. But CPM, you can do like project manager associate and then become a project manager. But if you're going to go lead CRA, it is a good step too, but it may not be necessary. You might just need to go CRA PM. Talk to your line managers. Here we go. I did a live stream and I put Dr. Smith. You see what I'm going to splice this out and show him that doing these live streams is not a waste of time. That's my PI. I potentially got us a study for our treatment naive patients. We have patients who refuse to go to the doctor, but they end up going and then they're given something. Happen every week. I go there and somebody refers me a treatment naive diabetic. So hypertension is going to be the same thing. Those are all comorbidities. Those are all lifestyle diseases. Unfortunately, people don't want to eat right and exercise. I'm currently a data coordinator for a preclinical CRO. How can I highlight my current experience when making the transition to human trials? So there's a lot of data, obviously, in the human trials. So how you manage those data is the workflow. Try to get yourself into a in-house CRA role or a data management role or even a data management assistant role at a big CRO or at a big sponsor. And that will be your gateway to human trials. And then you can do things like monitoring or coordinating. There's a lot going on. Yeah, see, we're doing biz dev over here. Carla's doing biz dev. Thank you guys so much. I gotta go. Everybody hit me up. I'm here to help. If I can help you in any way, message me. I get back to everybody eventually, or at least I try, unless it looks like spam. If your message looks like spam, I'm gonna ignore it. But then if it's really not spam, just message me again. And that's it. Thank you guys. TikTok, we're done. Let me exit one by one. TikTok, it was fun. We'll do it again. Instagram, I gotta get up to close ours. LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. Thank you guys so much. We'll do this again another time. Next step from a CRA is any clinical op role, such as CRA deliverables, etc. Thank you guys. Like, subscribe, comment, share. Let's do it again. Have a good one.